The Voynich Manuscript and the Flat Earth Link. Hello and welcome. I'm Nee B, and how are you doing today? You ready for some more Flat Earth truths, I hope? Because this one, guys, might literally blow those socks right off. And I would suggest having a nice warm pair on at the moment, because it is rather frosty over here on the English side of the plane. Now, the Voynich Manuscript, to all who may be a little unfamiliar, is one, if not the only, world's most mysterious book in existence today. Now, no one can fully decipher, and it's full of illustrations, diagrams, plants and cosmology, amongst other very fascinating things. Now, the manuscript itself, very quickly, guys, is named after an antiquarian, Wilfred Voynich, who bought it around 1912 from a collection of books belonging to the Jesuits. Now, isn't it amazing what these Jesuits have in their possession and what they are in control of today? Now, theories about the author and who wrote it will always remain a mystery, but for a long time, it is believed to be the work of a 13th century English Franciscan friar called Roger Bacon, whose interest in the dark arts of alchemy and magic eventually landed him in jail. But that theory was discarded when the manuscript was so-called carbon dated, which is a speculative science as well. But anyway, it's said to have been originated between the 1400s and 1450. So other interesting theories about the author seem to point to a very young Leonardo da Vinci. Now, the 240-page mysterious book that's made of some type of parchment produced using calfskin known as vellum. Now, each page is decorated with illustrations, diagrams, and this very mysterious text written from left to right, like the man himself. So due to this mysterious nature, the text has been studied by cryptographers all across the plane, yet no one has been successful or succeeded in deciphering the reams of written passages or pictures until now. Well, maybe to a point. But due to the manuscript's discovery in Italy, many researchers believe the book to have originated in Europe. However, the latest research from Dr. Tucker suggests that it may have been written by the Aztecs, which is now known as modern-day Mexico. But in regards to the link, you can see the words around the moon face and what they really mean. No one can interpret it really, because it is undecipherable. So it is going to remain speculative. But if we was to assume for now that it's answering the sun and moon's direct path over a geocentric plane, can you see how it's depicting the sun and moon over a flat earth? Now, back in the 15th century, the church in Rome preached that the heavens moved, not the earth, for God hath established a world which shall not be moved. Now, I'm not going to get into any type of that type of an upload, but contrary to the church's teachings, a German theologian, Nicholas of Cursor, proposed that the earth revolved around the sun. And what follows is this typical pattern. His astrological beliefs were based on abstract speculations rather than scientific observation. Because when you and I, or any other scientist, observe the natural science of this flat stationary Earth, it becomes rather apparent very quickly that the sun and moon revolve around the Earth and we do not spin at any alarming rates of speeds or motion. So 100 years later, we then get works of the good old Freemasons, Copernicus, Galileo and Kepler, to try and provide proof that these distant planet balls, including the Earth, revolved around the sun. And what did we get then as proof? And now, 500 years later, in 2018, we get a load of what ifs, what mights, and what maybes. And the very interesting phrasing Copernicus utilised was that if the Earth were in motion, then the observed phenomenon would result. Now, this phrasing, guys, is extremely important because it means that Copernicus himself at the time could deny he believed it. He merely fashioned it in such a way that it will always be a hypothesis that would allow then future astronomers to try and correct fundamental errors that they come across while observing the heavens, leaving then at the time open with anybody with a lot of money and the control system at hand that have and could change the face of history forever. And by writing in this very fashion, Copernicus would have been able to deny that he himself believed in heliocentrism because he phrased it as nothing more than a hypothesis. So as a result, would be able to slip past the church's dislike of heliocentrism at the time. Now, today, guys, it seems that all churches, contrary to if you're a globe believer, thinking that flat Earth is all religion and it's one or the other, well, all churches today and religions seem to preach a heliocentric Earth and a Big Bang theory. And that's very alarming because it was a Jesuit priest who invented the Big Bang theory, George Lemaitre, not a scientist, because science proves the Earth to be geocentric. Now, to give you a very important quote, those who are paying attention, God didn't create religion, man did, and that's the truth. All Copernicus, Kepler, Newton, all theories, they are never fully formed and have never been scientifically proved to any mathematical degree. Meaning that they are and will always be several flaws that will make the heliocentric hypothesis appear weak and unscientific. Because the Earth is geocentric. And according to Giovanni Tolsani in 1546, a member of the Dominican order, said almost all of the hypothesis of this author Copernicus contains something false. And there are many scientists and astrophysicists today that are trying to put those pieces back together again and fail because the heliocentric model is full of so many flaws of what ifs, what mights, what maybes, and numbers that are incomprehensible to the human brain. In fact, back in 1674, a famous English natural philosopher called Robert Hooker stated, once said, "To one who is being conversant only with illiterate persons, or such as understand not the principles of astronomy and geometry, who can scarce imagine the earth is globulous, but imagine it to be a round plane covered with the sky as with a hemisphere." Now that's very interesting, because that would suggest the idea of a flat domed earth. Yes? Well, another amazing fact, guys, about a globe is that the oldest extant globe, what's known as the Erdapfel, it's the drinks globe you may have in your home right now, that this was made in 1492, the exact same year that Columbus discovered the New World. Now that is quite coincidental, don't you think? Because you and I, depending on what you believe, a globe doesn't depict the Americas, does it? Now, it's often repeated as a fact that Columbus and co. proved the world was round by sailing around it. However, as we will always be 100% correctly to point out that travelling around the plane in a circle doesn't prove it's a globe, does it? Because a compass draws a circle, and you can make the same circular journey on the azimuthal equidistant projection without any single problem whatsoever. All ship captains use a flat map to circumnavigate the plane. They do not have a globe next to the wheel, because you would need to go around north to south as well as east to west to prove that it's a globular ball. And as modern science proves, that is something we have not done and cannot possibly do. So I hope you can see in the pictures provided from the Voynich Manuscript how it's depicting a geocentric Earth with the sun and moon rotating around us, and not a ball Earth moving around the sun. There are no globular images. The flat Earth, guys, is even in the most mysterious book in existence today. Can you believe it? Well, you should, because the Earth has and will always be geocentric and at the center of creation. Now, to give you a little bit of what I'm talking about, the powers that be like to mock us, like to throw the flat Earth in our face every day. The geocentric model of the universe on Wikipedia, please check this out for yourself, guys, is referred to and is known as the yellow minion. That's right, the yellow minion. Now, haven't they become popular over the last few years? Talk about in our face. Remember the quote, guys. Real eyes realize real lies. And the truth is the truth, whether you believe it or not. The Earth is a geocentric, flat, motionless plane, and even the most undecipherable book on this plane Earth contains the geocentric stationary Earth with the sun and moon rotating around above us. Don't you just love being a flat earther in 2018? I do. Listen, guys, I know it's been a long upload. I just want to thank you if you've stuck with me. If you're new to the channel, always subscribe, hit the notification bell. I try and make one every week, every fortnight. If you're new, as always, be lucky. If you're not new, you also be lucky. You take good care of yourself and everybody around you. Look after this plain Earth that we live on, and I will speak to you next week on the next upload. You take care, and thanks again for listening. Thanks for watching, and all the luck in the world.